Ugh, crazy babies. Some light in here. What is up, everybody? I don't even know how many I'm going to get in here or how much time I'm actually going to have to discuss this, but I wanted to jump on and just briefly have a little bit of palaver here about the fact that we officially have our next Batman in Matt Reeves' long gestating Batman film entitled The Batman. Yes, the next Batman film is entitled The Batman. They still hadn't done one with that title just yet, had they? No, they had not. I was about to head out to John Wick 3, but I was like, yeah, I have a few minutes. Why the hell not? Let's talk about this for just a few seconds. I'm going to actually see if anybody's going to filter in briefly before I really get cranking properly about this. Let's make a link in the fake books and all that shizzle. Since we are live. This is the first Enfuegotainment live that I've done in a hot minute. So yeah, but this is big time news, peepers. This is like ginormous status stuff. And I know that a lot of people are not going to be very happy about it. Okay, that post is not going to work. Damn it! Good damn it! Say it ain't so, you know. I actually have a very, very deep-rooted opinion about this, and I am ready to start putting it forth. Okay, that'll do, pig. That'll do. Talking this crazy, this holy shit news live. Yes, because as I said, I was about to run off to John Wick 3 Parabellum or whatever the hell they're calling it. And I was like, okay, I got about 30 minutes before I have to bounce out the door, so why the hell not? So, okay, I see Rob Youngins. What up, man? Say it ain't so. That's a Weezer song. That's actually a really good Weezer song. Rotting Flesh, what is up, dude? I'm hoping we get to see you here next weekend if you're going to be making it down for the panels that we have at the cons of, Phoenix Fan Fusion, whatever the fuck they're calling it at this particular point. But yeah, hell yeah, dude. I am stoked. Yeah, we've only got the 3 panels this year because we just kept scaling stuff back, in all honesty, because it was like, I don't know. It was like for the exposure for our brand in comparison with the amount of like love and feedback and stuff, you only have to do 3 panels to get, full admission for pretty much all of our team and whatnot. And so we were putting a lot of work into all those panels, and as much fun as they were, it was exhausting, and the amount of preparation and just the amount of just thanks and, I guess gratitude we were getting from the Square Egg Entertainment just didn't really fit the amount of effort we were putting into it. We're like, we're just going to save our time and resources for Mad Monster and for trying to get out to other conventions and so on and so forth. But okay. There he is. What's good, yo? What is up, Mikey, my man? What's happening? Rob Duell, my local Arizona dude, still waiting for Keaton to come back as Old Man Bruce for a Batman Beyond movie. Yeah, wouldn't that be just sick as hell? I think that would be incredible. So, yeah, I'm one of those stereotypical people that Batman is, in fact, my favorite superhero. He is probably for a lot of people just because of the fact that he doesn't have superpowers. Granted, he's just a rich guy with a shitload of toys and whatnot. But he has, for me, aside from maybe Spider-Man, the best rogues gallery of villains. And, such compelling storytelling from, the Nightfall, Night's Quest, Night's End arc to the Hush stuff to, even all the stuff with like Cataclysm and, No Man's Land and all the stuff they did in the 90s, I was such a big fan of. The Scott Snyder stuff was great. I haven't gone really deep into the Grant Morrison like a lot of my friends, but Batman for me has always been the absolute coolest since I was a kid. And I saw it, first seeing the na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-wah-wah. That was my first exposure, even before Keaton. And then it was only a couple years later when I saw Keaton. I was like 6 or 7 years old when the first Burton Batman came out, and I loved it, even though my parents were like, no, we're going to fast forward through this one scene where it's not even like sex, it's like heavy petting. But yeah, Vicky Vale, great in it. Keaton is still my favorite Batman. Christian Bale comes close, but only comes close in... I don't know. He only comes close really for me in Batman Begins because I think The Dark Knight is overrated, and I get a lot of shit from a lot of people for saying that, but I think The Dark Knight is overrated. Especially, it goes on way longer than it should. We don't need that additional big action beat on the boat in the third act. It makes the third act seem very long and winded. And I hate The Dark Knight Rises. I've gone on record to say that many times. But Batman Returns is actually my all-time favorite Batman film because it's bonkers, batshit crazy Burton, man. It's Burton just really going for it. But who else do we have rolling through? Batman, just because of his armory, his non-leather weaponry is plus Gotham has always been a reflection of humanity's true darkness. Very, very well put. Sir Trauma, Trash, Mnemonic. Ben Grimm, very stoked that I got to meet you briefly at Texas Frightmare, man. I wish we could have shared more palaver. That would have been dope, dude. But okay, can't wait to see this now. Yeah, honestly, I think that I've been beating around the bush long enough at this particular point. I hated the Twilight movies. I did not think that they necessarily gave the proper scope to what Robert Pattinson could do as an actor. And so I feel like with a lot, and also with Kristen Stewart too, because I've seen her in quite a few things, whether it was just a more like lighthearted role, like the Adventureland stuff, or even in like in the Lizzie Borden movie. I think the Private Shopper or whatever the hell it was, I actually think she's a talented actress too. It's just that they were adapting this tween source material that was just so vanilla sugar-coated shit that I don't know. I think Pattinson, in the work that he's done since, most notably, if you've seen Good Time, man, I think that's what it was called, right? It was the one that he just recently did. Yeah, Good Time. It was an A24 movie where he's doing this like thick New York accent and stuff, and his brother is locked up and he's running all over town. Awesome job. He did some Cronenberg stuff. He was in Map to the Stars, I want to say it was called. I know Cusack was in it. And there's one other, I want to say, what the heck was it called? Maybe it was Cosmopolis. I want to say that was another Cronenberg-y one that came out that was just really strange. And obviously, I mean, if it's Cronenberg and a director of his caliber is going to work a couple different times with this kid. And I have yet to see High Life, but I've heard good things. I thought the trailers looked badass good. And so the point of the matter here is, at least in my estimation, that I think this is really cool casting, and especially from some of the other names that they were throwing around, this legit has me excited, especially with the fact that we know this is going to be a much younger Batman, presumably, especially from like the look, it's going to be even younger than we got in Batman Begins. Now, do we really need another young Batman story? I don't know, but nonetheless, I mean, year one is terrific, and if we do get what some of the rumors had initially said when Matt Reeves first came on, and was that when Ben Affleck was still attached to this, and I think that Batfleck actually got a bad rap. He's not going to be up there with my favorite Batmans or anything, but I thought he was a very good Bruce Wayne, personally. Those brooding scenes of him, just sitting in the Batcave and stuff and just like doing the, like his head is going to explode Scanner style rage shit that was going down. I thought that was pretty cool. He's definitely kind of a tubbier Batman, but I mean, he was definitely of the body frame of the source material that they were just taking a lot of inspiration from, in the Dark Knight Returns business. And that's what I really wish they would have done. Who was it that said at the beginning about having Keaton come back? That was Robert. I think it would be awesome if they could somehow get both Keaton and Nicholson back and just do a proper Dark Knight Returns. That would be amazing. But hey, that's not going to happen at this point. But The Lighthouse is another movie that I'm very excited to see Pattinson in. That's the follow-up from Robert Eggers, I believe, who's the director of The Witch. So there's a reason why all of these very high-profile peeps like Eggers and Cronenberg and others, the director of High Life I know is well esteemed too. It's a French woman named Claire Denis, and I really want to see High Life. Even though Cecil and Marcia, they hate art house horror. They're not into that sort of stuff. I personally love it. I think it's great, and I love when there's a science fiction kind of slant to it. So I mean, if all of these high-profile peeps want to put him in their films, I think there's a reason why somebody like Matt Reeves would end up casting him. And now this news is just broken, so it's very, very fresh on everybody's minds. And I don't know. What do you guys think? Throw out some ideas and bits and pieces here and there. Who else do we have? Who else is seeing John Wick 3 tonight? That's what I'm heading to right now, right after I get done talking about this. But since I love Batman so much, I'm here in the Chiron Cavern. You guys can see my drums and all that shizzle back there. this is where the band rehearses and where the recording goes down. And at least for now, it's where anything as the reemergence of Enfuegotainment continues going down, where I will be doing some live streamy stuff. It's sinking in now. He at least has the jawline for it. He looks like he could be a damn good young Bruce Wayne, in my opinion. He really, really does. And he's got those classic chiseled looks and stuff. What storyline do you think they're going to go with since we have a younger Batman? That's what Vince Malley said. The word on the street for a long, long time has been that it's going to be something set in Arkham, and it's going to have a bunch of different villains. I love the Arkham Asylum comic book with that painted artwork that they did, like 15, maybe 20 years ago now at this point. Absolutely beautiful. But we know that, Bruce is going to be the main focus. That Arkham book, there was like barely if any Batman in it, if I recall correctly. But we've never seen something set primarily in there. We've only had, bits and pieces go down. So I would love to see a full Spectrum Rogues gallery. And I'm wondering how many pictures he's signing on to, because this is not going to be a one-off sort of thing. They went this young because they wanted their Batman of the like long-term future. And how old is he anyway? I'm going to bring up his. Okay, so he's 33, so he's actually not quite as young as I thought he was. But I mean, yeah, dude definitely looks the part. I'm for this. What else are you guys saying in here? I think they will go the route of becoming the Batman with him being / looking so young. Yeah, I don't even think he looks 33. I think he's one of those Hollywood actors that could still play like late 20s, especially, with the trimmed up face and all of that. Say It Isn't So. John Kyle Stanton, that's a great Weezer song. I'm going to hit you with the same joke that I got at the very beginning. It is most definitely so. It's most definitely transpiring. Robert Pattinson is our next Batman. I actually liked Batman versus Superman for the most part. So did I. I honestly, with the exception of the, why'd you say that name? Why'd you say that name? I, for the most part, really had a lot of fun with Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice, especially if you watch the extended cut, the Ultimate Edition cut, whatever the hell you want to classify it as. I forget the exact terminology, but I thought that was a really good film. And with as terrible as Justice League was, I hated Justice League. I think Justice League might be even worse than Suicide Squad as far as the recent slate of these DC. It's not even the DCEU, but all the journalists have been calling it that for a while. The new slate of DC films from Man of Steel onward, Justice League is my least favorite. I really, really didn't like Justice League. It's like 90-something minutes, and it just felt like a bastardized vision. It felt poorly edited, and I'm just sad that Zack Snyder was not able to see his trilogy through, to fully just get the entirety of the vision together. I think that would have been a much better route, but DC panicked, and DC has followed that lighter tone of the Justice League to better results with Aquaman, which I thought was just okay, but then with much better just satisfaction for me in Shazam. I loved Shazam. Shazam just might be the Man of Steel. I actually love Man of Steel. Man of Steel came very, very close. Those are probably my two favorites, with Dawn of Justice being a third, but actually, no, what am I saying? Wonder Woman's great except for that third act. But yeah, I hated Justice League, bottom line. And I feel like it's very sad that is the send-off that we get for the Batfleck, because I feel like, who knows, maybe he will show up as they speculated in just a beginning scene to kind of close out his connection with the character, and then it flashes back to Pattinson and we just take it from there. That was the word on the street for quite a while until, he finally admitted that he was departing from the role and was not gonna have that involvement, and so on and so forth. So I'm pumped about this. I'm gonna see what else you guys have to say. Sunday you're seeing John Wick, okay? Mr. Mikey Troma Tresh Mnemonic. I'm excited to be seeing it tonight, and I'm gonna be doing a review here on Enfuegotainment right when I get back to Zikasa. Accept it, like it, then enjoy the casting decision. Yeah, I think more so than anything else, the most intriguing thing now that we have this piece in place is Matt Reeves is a terrific director. His stuff with the Apes franchise was fantastic. I'm trying to remember what else he did besides that. I should just really look real quick, because I know that he has at least one other pretty pivotal property under his belt. I just want to double check. I'm sure you guys will actually hit it in the comments before I can get to it. But Under Siege 2 Dark Territory, no, he was just a writer for that. The pallbearer, didn't see that. Not sure what that's about. Oh, that's what I'm thinking of. Cloverfield. I didn't like the Let Me In remake, but that's because I love Let the Right One In so much. But it was at least stylistically very well made. So yeah, I mean, yeah, War for the Planet of the Apes and Dawn for the Planet of the Apes. That's what everybody loves the hell out of this director for. Lots of TV experience too. What else? Actually, not that much. I mean, Homicide: Life on the Street. Felicity. Whoo boy, love that. Love that Kerry Russell, though, I got to say. But yeah, Matt Reeves would not go with somebody, with a director of his caliber that would be anything subpar in my estimation. What else do y'all got to say? Rob is obviously a Twilight turd. DC never fails to make horrible decisions. I totally politely disagree. Jack Yo, have you seen him in anything besides the Twilight movies? He's pretty awesome, man. He's watch Good Time. That's the one that I will tell everybody showcases the scope of his skill very, very well. It's an A24 film, takes place in New York, and his brother's locked up, and he's running all over town. I've heard very good stuff about his performance in High Life. I thought he was good in Cosmopolis. So yeah, give this a chance, man. Give this a chance. That's what I'm going to say. Vince Malley also says it would be dope if they had Pattinson, Terry McGinnis, and Michael Keaton return as older Bruce Wayne. Yeah, that could be super cool too. I'm all for any sort of just, kind of a passing the torch sort of thing as that has been discussed. What else we got? Damon PewDiePie, that's not that guy. As long as he doesn't sparkle in the Twilight. Yeah, that was the one thing. I almost decided when I was making the thumbnail for this, I wanted to get a Twilight shot with like the little sparkle going on. If it sparkles, but nah, I think that would actually give the impression that I'm not as okay with this casting as I genuinely am. I'm pretty cool with this casting, man. I am all good with it. Yeah, I'm good. Damon, I totally agree with you. Rob says, any word of potential villains or allies? There's been a lot of rumors, but obviously nothing has been confirmed as of yet. And since this report just broke about 10 minutes ago, all of the information is still kind of filtering in. There is still never any confirmation about who the villain was going to be. There was lots of rumors about everybody from, Penguin and the Riddler were the two that I think were the most prominently floating around. But they have said that since it is presumably going to be set in Arkham, that we will at least get a taste of. I'm guessing we'll get a taste of a few different villains, and then we'll have a couple main ones pulling the strings. But it would really be cool if we got some minor players that just haven't really got as much have not got as much just love in the meantime. So this is interesting because Hollywood Reporter was saying that he's the front runner to play Batman, but then you've got Variety saying he is playing Batman. So there's apparently conflicting reports, and you know what? I'm assuming that this is probably pretty. If Variety 48 minutes ago is claiming it's a done deal, they are extremely reputable. They're a source that I trust, and I'm totally cool with this. What else you guys got to say? Since I only have about 10 more minutes before I have to run out to John Wick. I would love some Mad Hatter action. Clayface would be cool. What do you guys think? Okay. Scarface would be awesome, but he really wanted to play him. Don Joe, what's up, man? Thanks for checking out all of the Star Wars content that I've been doing lately. It's really been a pleasure to just read your comments and stuff, and thank you so much for the support, man. Happy to hear this from you first. I agree. He's a great actor and will do this well. Just watched High Life. He was excellent. I still haven't seen it yet, but I've heard great things from a lot of my friends who are into art house science fiction with like horror elements and stuff like that. So I am totally cool with this. Clayface. Yeah, yes. You guys, Ben Grimm, Damon, you guys are, that's what's up. I thought that Hush was going to be in the movie. There were some rumors about that, but I heard that was kind of debunked, at least recently, because of the fact that we have the Hush animated movie that's about to hit. But who knows? Maybe since it's a less known character, from that Jim Lee comic, maybe they introduce Hush to larger video audiences aside from the comic books by putting that animated film out, and then in turn they can factor in Hush to the big screen. That could be dope. I would definitely be interested in that. I thought that I'd love to see Professor Ping as the main villain. Gotham TV show did a good rendition of him. Yeah, I actually, Mikey, have not watched any of the Gotham TV show. I have some friends that have checked it out. They've told me that being a network show with tons and tons of episodes, there's some that are really good, and then there's others that are fairly disposable and super boring and just like meh. That's I even feel that way about my beloved Supernatural and the shows. I mean, Buffy being like the girl version of Supernatural in a lot of ways. But yeah, network, when you've got like 20 plus episodes to deal with. I've heard that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has suffered from the same problems as have many of those DC shows like Flash and Supergirl and so on. So all right, what else we got? Court of Owls. Yeah, Ben, that could be dope. I love pretty much all the Scott Snyder stuff. I'm assuming that we are not going to see the Joker in this movie. Definitely not going to happen. They'll probably do the same thing like they did with Batman Begins, where they will save him for a later entry, or maybe we'll just see a cameo. But if we have the Joaquin Phoenix Joker coming out, there's still word that an iteration of the Jared Leto Joker is going to show up in the Harley Quinn, Birds of Prey film. I don't think we're going to see any Joker in this particular movie. And man, to have another Joker, since this is supposed to be, a different age for Bruce, and to another Joker, we don't need another Joker just yet. So that's actually the one villain that I hope is not in this, or if so, maybe he's like seen in a cell in the shadows, like, messing with cards or something, and maybe has a line or two delivered by, Jared. Because I didn't hate the Juggalo Joker as much as a lot of people did. I actually liked Jared in the role, and I felt like he was given a disservice by not getting enough screen time, and also by not being the main villain. He should have been the main villain. Enchantress was shit, man. I mean, you've got the underwear model dancing around. She's a babe and all, but she's not a very good actress. I mean, go watch the Valerian movie or whatever. Dane DeHaan acts circles around that girl in that film. Okay, Fuego, you totally swayed me to Team Pattinson. I'm sold. Well, hey, I'm trying to be positive about this. I still remember when everybody was flipping the fuck out about Ben Affleck being Batman, and for the timeline that they were going for being like that stout, Dark Knight Returns, I was fine with it. And I actually think that, especially with the stuff that he directed, that he won so much acclaim for, rightfully so, I felt like, Affleck was not a bad Batman, although I didn't like the way that they wrote him in Justice League. I just hated Justice League. God, it was such shit. Okay, what else do we got? Vin says, if it takes place in Arkham, I can see Hugo Strange, main villain. That could be sweet, too. Good call, bro. Mikey says, I love the Gotham TV show. Nice and dark and violent, and don't get me started on Supernatural. Okay. Yeah, this is a good pull for DC. I really, truly do. I feel like they have been making a lot of wise moves lately. I feel like they've righted the ship, not necessarily by emulating Marvel with adding more humor and stuff like that, but by trying to do stuff that they're not trying to do a big interlocking universe now as much like Marvel perfected with Endgame. Let's be honest, Marvel perfected with their last two big budget bits of insanity. I wasn't too big on Captain Marvel, but between Infinity War and Endgame, Marvel perfected the super annual crossover, all the characters from all the different side films coming together. DC is taking the alternate approach now, and I feel like it's working a whole lot better for them. The fact that the Wonder Woman film just had some loosely connected tissue. Same with Aquaman. Even if I wasn't the biggest fan of Aquaman, I still had enough fun with it. I loved Shazam. Shazam was more like nod and wink with its references that it's taking place within the universe, as opposed to just having to have this character cameo and that character cameo. And they almost had Henry Cavill cameo, and it was allegedly scheduling conflicts for why it didn't transpire. But yeah, I'm cool with this casting, y'all. I'm going to have to wrap it up here in the next few minutes because I got to run off to see Keanu Reeves shoot up some mofos, and break some skulls, crack some faces. Bring on the creeper. Okay, Cracked Head says, I would love to see Scarecrow. You see, Scarecrow might be my favorite Batman villain. Legit. And that's why I praise Batman Begins so much. I praise it as my second favorite Batman film all the damn time. Right after Batman Returns, for the sheer fact that I felt like Cillian Murphy did such a fantastic job as that villain. I love just the aspect of fear being implemented. I love the hallucinogenic aspect. I felt like there's a reason why they brought him back in every other installment in the Nolan trilogy with good reason, because not only is Cillian Murphy a tremendous actor, watch Red Eye, watch 28 Days Later. He even saves films like, I want to say it was called Red Lights, and a few others where you're just like, this is not so good, but he's always good, And so there's a reason why he kept popping back up. I would be totally cool with a new version of Scarecrow. I mean, who could they cast? Who could they cast, guys? Maybe like a Michael Shannon could be dope. That's one of the first that comes to mind. Who would you guys cast as Scarecrow, or who would you suggest if for one of the other villains that we've mentioned here in the chat thus far? Okay, what do we got? Two-Face or Man? Yeah, Man-Bat could be interesting. Yeah, get some wacky prosthetics and stuff going. That could be dope. Properly do Two-Face, since Two-Face, I love Aaron Eckhart, and I thought that Aaron Eckhart was a great Harvey Dent. Good Two-Face, he was not. I felt the CGI looked like shit. And he was so overshadowed by that amazing performance by Heath Ledger that it just felt like overstuffing the turkey and just like, okay, it's a sequel. We need two villains because it's a sequel. Not always the case and not always necessary. I mean, god damn, look at Batman and Robin, where how many villains did we have in Batman and Robin? Even that big old beefy non-speaking Bane, played by that professional wrestler. I mean, geez, it was just too much. You don't want to overstuff the turkey. You want to give a villain enough screen time to shine. I personally liked Tommy Lee Jones and all of that batshit crazy silliness along with the Riddler and Jim Carrey in that Schumacher movie, more so than I liked at least the Two-Face stuff once Eckhart was finally all, disfigured and everything in that particular film. I say it all the time. Dark Knight is overrated. Overrated. Okay. They need to do a 40-minute Batman movie. Then they do the rest in Arkham Asylum. What do you guys think? So as in, like, the first 40 minutes are outside and give, like, enough. Like, we don't need to see parents killed again. There's a lot of backstory, much like with the introduction of another Spider-Man, in Tom Holland. Like, we didn't need to see Uncle Ben killed again. We didn't need to see all of these things that are pretty much in the public consciousness as of this point with all the various iterations and reboots of these classic characters that we've seen. It just isn't necessary. And I'm personally hopeful that we just, we jump right into it and we get to, hell, join him in the middle of a mission already in progress, act like we're just right there and just ready to join the character. It's like last time on the Batman, so on and so forth. I think that's all that is necessary with the familiarity as a public and in all of pop culture that we already have with Batman. A Long Halloween, dude, possibly, between that and Dark Victory and the stuff that creative team did, it's the dud here. I'm so for anything Long Halloween. They have the Long Halloween DC animated film it's either coming out or it's already out. I can't remember. But Adam Driver for Scarecrow, tall and lanky, bomb idea, dude. I think that dude is just, and he's got like this stringy kind of hair look, and he's got the weird like long like horse face kind of thing going on, like you would want for Scarecrow. Brilliant idea. Absolutely brilliant. I love that idea, Rob. That's way better than my Michael Shannon suggestion, man. Crispin Glover is Scarecrow. If we had an older Batman, I'd say yes. I would definitely say yes, especially after seeing Crispin, a year or two ago on American Gods. Like, he's still done in anything he does. He has this very weird, just kind of mania about him that he brings to the screen, Yeah, but that's a really good suggestion. Craig Ted says Adam Driver would be amazing. Yeah, exactly. Skinny, tall, and with enough makeup, he could have the potential to look creepy. And obviously, they're finishing up the sagas right now with him, so he's going to have the time. Go jump on another big budget franchise. Rob, you get my seal of approval for an amazing idea that the internet needs to listen. I'm going to start tweeting about this shit once I get to the theater, and I'm sitting through those. I'll probably get a beer and I will tweet about that, and then I'll go sit in the theater. I'm not going to subject anybody next to me being on my phone, because that would be rather bastardly. Robert Duell says, I would love to see a Batman versus Predator movie. That would be brutal. In a perfect world, yes, but that is obviously going to be merely relegated to fan fiction. Although I will say, of all of the different Predator crossovers with the DC universe, because he's crossed over with Superman. They've done Batman and Superman versus Aliens and Predator. I have all those crossover books. They did Green Lantern versus Aliens. Dark Horse has crossed over those classic characters, being the Predator and the Xenomorphs with so many of their big properties. They did a Justice League JLA Predator. That one wasn't very good, but the very first one, one of the very first comics I ever bought when I first started collecting was Batman versus Predator. Just the whole prize fighter aspect, the fact that he's looking for a worthy competitor, and it's just man, Batman versus Predator. If y'all have not read it, I'm pretty sure they have an omnibus that collects all three, including the sequel ones that bring in Huntress and various others. They are super, super badass. But yeah, that's only going to be fan films on YouTube, I would imagine, sir. Unfortunately, we need some Arkham video game fight scenes. Yeah. Too bad we can't have Conroy incorporated in some particular way, just in some way. That would be just amazing because he did such terrific voice work. Seriously, guys, such terrific voice work on both the video game and the television series. I will still contend that Batman the Animated Series is still my favorite iteration of Batman aside from the comic books. And anytime I'm reading a Batman comic, I hear Kevin Conroy's voice in my head when I'm reading Bruce Wayne. And that's forever going to be the case. Bruce Timm's work was just that iconic and that amazing that I don't think it will really ever be topped. But we've come close with some of the Burton and some of the Nolan stuff. Okay. I don't even know. Natsretov 11. Okay. Hey, Fuego, if you asked me 5 or more years ago, I would have received this news with utter disdain. Yeah. But in the past few years, Robert Pattinson's films have been pretty great, and he's great in them. Exactly. That's one of the reasons why, if this news came right after Twilight was ending, I'd be pissed. I'd be like, what are they doing? Especially jumping from a big franchise to another big franchise. I would say he's just he's cherry picking his roles. He's not meant for this. But I got to use a phrase like, I feel like Pattinson has paid his dues. He's gone and done the small indie films. He has shown that he isn't. And let's remember, this is a British actor, theater trained. That's something we do not get really from very many, if any, American actors. The one thing that I will give so much credit to most Brits and Euro actors and actresses and people from Australia, New Zealand and stuff. I mean, they are classically theaterly trained. So as opposed to so many of these American actors where they're on set and it's like, line, cut, so on and so forth. These theater actors have such immense memorization that they have to put into play to be on stage. Seriously, if you're going to be on a stage play that spans many hours, and especially if look at like a Hugh Jackman, for God's sake, or, a Hemsworth, or so many of these people, Tom Hiddleston, that's the list goes on and on. I could just rage and continue going. But so many of these actors, they sing, they can dance, the extent of choreography, all of this different stuff. It's just, when there's no cuts involved and you just have to lay it all bare Broadway style, it's just a completely different beast. And I feel like there's a different level of talent and just a different level of thespian and just creative in general to be able to exist and thrive and succeed within that field of acting. It's much more impressive in my estimation. John Hamm as Two-Face, interesting. It just makes me wonder if, with the age range that they're going for with Pattinson, being in his early 30s, but looking like he's in his late 20s, what age range they're going to go with these villains. Are they going to also cast 30-somethings, maybe early 40s-ish people? Or are they going to try to make all of these villains seem within maybe 5 to 10 years older than Bruce, and he's just now going against them? Obviously we would assume a character like Penguin would be significantly older, but or maybe even the Riddler, or various others of the more iconic from the Rogues Gallery. But I don't know. I think that now that we have this piece in place, and it's an exciting piece in place in my estimation, next up that's going to be really important is where they go with the villains and what casting transpires there. But you know what? I have faith in Matt Reeves. I really do. I'm pretty stoked for it. And hell yeah, Adam Driver as Jonathan Crane would be amazing. That's the biggest and most memorable thing that is going to stick in my head after this live stream. So Willis Credia, CP, my dude, what is up, man? Well, prep to discuss this again Monday. No, that's why I'm just keeping it brief, just about 30 minutes. And I'm going to be jumping, since I've been going for over 30 minutes, and I need to get to the theater. My John Wick starts at 7, but there's 25 minutes of previews, which is just hideous at this point, that when you go to see a feature film, I guess it gives you a lot more time, since I react to trailers and review them both on the horror show and sometimes here on my channel. I don't I'm not as big about seeing trailers in the theater. For me, that just gives me an extra 20 minutes or so to, if I'm running late, find parking and get into the theater, to grab myself a beer once I get there, or, popcorn or whatever. So yeah, I'm off to see John Wick 3 in IMAX, and I'm going to be filming a review of that this evening and probably putting it up this evening right away. So what do you guys think about this news that Robert Pattinson is the new Batman? I can't wait to hear Cecil's thoughts about this. I can't wait to hear Luis's thoughts about this, my buddies from the horror show. If you guys are on here and don't know about the channel that I spend the predominance of my time on, it's youtube.com/The Horror Show channel. That's where we cover everything spectacular under the Scarific umbrella, from trailer reactions to film reviews, convention coverage. We just got back from Texas Frightmare, where I got to interview Chad Archibald, the director of I'll Take Your Dead, one of my favorite films that I've seen thus far this year. He also did Bite, The Heretics, which was fantastic. And I interviewed some great artists, and we have some very fun coverage coming later this week. So that is youtube.com/The Horror Show channel. I've been Jaime Enfuego. You can find me on all social media sectors like Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, obviously here. So guys, if you like this video and you just happen to randomly tune in because I went for the clickbait, because I saw this window of opportunity to discuss this, and I was like, I got to seize it, I got to do it, please like and share and subscribe to my channel. It's greatly appreciated. And I've been doing lots of Star Wars coverage, canon coverage, as I'm now calling it, because I just put up a review for Master and Apprentice, which is the new Star Wars novel written by Claudia Gray. It's a prequels era novel that takes place before The Phantom Menace, and it's all about an early mission that Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan go on, and it explores both Qui-Gon's history with Dooku and also just the differing viewpoints of just how to approach being a Jedi that Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon just seem to disagree on a little bit. It was a great book. If you want to see my review of that, it's here on the channel, along with all kinds of other cool stuff I've been doing since relaunching this earlier this year. So I guess I will say, everyone, until the real of Ka comes around once more, I will say hasta luego, sin amigos, but I am hopeful that we get to reconnect sooner rather than later. Till then, peace out, film freaks.